What if looking elegant through fall and winter has less to do with buying new clothes and more to do with knowing exactly how to wear what you already have? Why does Linda Wright always seem to strike that beautiful balance between looking sophisticated and still feeling completely natural? And how does she manage to embrace the colder seasons without allowing heavy layers, changing trends, or winter textures to overwhelm her personal style? There is something fascinating about Linda's approach to fashion. She doesn't seem interested in proving that she knows every new trend. She doesn't dress as though she is trying to compete with younger women, and she certainly doesn't rely on loud fashion statements to get noticed. Instead, she understands something many women discover only after years of experimenting with fashion. The most memorable style is often the style that looks effortless, and that is exactly why her fall and winter wardrobe is worth studying. When temperatures drop, dressing elegantly can become a little more complicated. Suddenly, you have layers to think about. You have heavier fabrics, coats, scarves, boots, and other seasonal details competing for attention. So how do you stay warm without losing your sense of style? Linda's approach offers a simple answer: balance. She understands that when one part of an outfit becomes visually heavier, another part should help create harmony. Instead of allowing winter clothing to make the entire appearance feel bulky, she pays attention to proportion and overall shape. And isn't that one of the biggest differences between simply getting dressed and actually styling an outfit? Anyone can put on several layers when it gets cold, but creating a look where every layer appears intentional takes a little more thought. That is where Linda's style becomes particularly interesting. She seems to understand that elegance doesn't disappear just because the weather becomes colder. In fact, fall and winter can be some of the most stylish seasons of the year, because they give you more opportunities to create depth and sophistication. You can play with texture, you can create contrast, you can build an outfit gradually instead of relying on one statement piece. But the trick is not to do everything at once. Linda's style demonstrates the beauty of restraint. She knows that you don't need every fashionable detail in one outfit. Sometimes removing one unnecessary element can make the entire look feel more expensive. And that raises an important question. Could the secret to looking more elegant actually be wearing less, but choosing better? Think about it. When an outfit is overloaded with patterns, accessories, competing textures, and obvious trends, your eyes don't know where to look. But when everything has a purpose, the entire appearance feels calmer. That calmness is one of the reasons Linda's style feels sophisticated. She doesn't appear to be fighting for attention. She allows the overall look to speak for itself. And perhaps this is one of the biggest lessons women can take into fall and winter. You don't have to dress loudly to be noticed. Sometimes confidence is quiet. Sometimes the woman who looks the most polished in the room is the one who isn't trying to prove anything at all. Linda also understands the importance of looking current without becoming a slave to trends. This is especially important as the fashion industry constantly introduces new silhouettes, new aesthetics, and new must-have pieces. Every season we are told something has changed. One season, something is considered outdated. The next season, it suddenly becomes fashionable again. So what should you do? Should you completely rebuild your wardrobe every few months? Of course not. Linda's style suggests a much smarter approach. Keep your foundation timeless and let the details evolve. That means you can introduce something fresh without allowing a trend to take over your identity. And isn't that much more practical? Instead of asking, "What is everyone wearing this season?" perhaps ask, "What from this season actually works with my personal style?" That small change in thinking can completely transform the way you shop. You stop buying things simply because they are popular. You start choosing things because they make sense for you. And when you do that, your wardrobe becomes more intentional. Linda's approach also highlights something that is often overlooked. Fit matters. It doesn't matter how expensive something is if the proportions don't work for you. A garment can be beautiful on a hanger and still look completely different once you put it on. That's why knowing your proportions is so valuable. When something sits correctly, moves comfortably, and creates a flattering overall shape, you automatically appear more polished. And that is another reason Linda's style feels effortless. There's no need to constantly adjust or fight with your outfit. Everything appears to work together, and comfort plays an important role too. Because what is the point of looking beautiful if you spend the entire day feeling uncomfortable? True elegance should not require you to suffer. You should be able to move naturally, sit comfortably, walk confidently, and still feel put together. Linda seems to understand this balance between comfort and sophistication. She doesn't treat comfort as the opposite of elegance. Instead, she shows that the two can exist together. And perhaps that is particularly important during fall and winter. When the weather becomes colder, your clothes need to work with you. You need warmth, movement, practicality, and style. So rather than choosing between looking good and feeling comfortable, why not look for pieces that give you both? That mindset alone can change the way you approach seasonal dressing. And then there is the question of accessories. Linda's approach is another lesson in knowing when to stop. Accessories can completely transform an outfit, but they can also overwhelm it. The goal isn't necessarily to add more. The goal is to add what is needed. One carefully chosen finishing touch can sometimes accomplish more than several competing accessories. And that is where sophistication often lives, in the details that don't immediately scream for attention. Perhaps that is why Linda's style can feel expensive even when the individual elements may be relatively simple. Luxury isn't always about the price tag. Sometimes luxury is simply the appearance of being considered. Linda's style also teaches us something about color and visual harmony, without requiring you to constantly chase seasonal palettes. The important thing isn't necessarily choosing the trendiest combination. It's creating an overall appearance that feels cohesive. When everything works together, the outfit feels naturally sophisticated. The goal is to create a layered appearance that still feels light, balanced, and intentional. She doesn't seem to ask, "What will make me look younger?" The better question is, "What makes me look and feel like the best version of myself?" That shift in mindset can completely change your relationship with fashion. Instead of dressing against your age, you begin dressing with your age. So, what do you think is the most important thing women can learn from Linda Wright's fall and winter style? And which part of her approach would you love to bring into your own wardrobe this season?